So my name is Thomas Waterzooi, and I'm the developer of Please Touch the Artwork. So Please Touch the Artwork is a project name of a growing set of relaxing mini games for PC and mobile, but also some real world art installations that are based on famous art movements or paintings. So season one is themed around Piet Mondrian, the abstract art pioneer from art movement The Style, founded in 1917 in our beloved host country, the Netherlands. So the first game is based on his compositions in red, blue, and yellow, which you see now on screen. Uh, so the famous paintings. It's a puzzle game of trial and error, which I'm now going to show. At first, but you will have to deduce some rules from these trials, of course. So you try out stuff, you have to reproduce the painting you see on the left to the right. But it becomes more and more hard. It's a bit of a metaphor for the creative process of the artist, where you have to try out stuff until you're satisfied with the results. Let me quickly fast forward to show you a bit how the game evolves. The paintings start looking more and more like the actual works. Voila. The second mini game is based on his work Broadway Boogie Woogie, which I'll show here. So this was when he was living in New York during the Second World War. It's a more story-driven game about Woogie and Boogie, two squares who just want to be together. You need to help Woogie reach Boogie so they can boogie Woogie, obviously. But this becomes increasingly more difficult. Let me quickly give you an example. So you send in Woogie, and this is pretty easy, but as very soon enough he gets some obstacles on his way that try to push him away from reaching Boogie. Actually, again, I'll fast forward to see how the painting or paintings, the levels start looking more and more like the actual real world painting. And then the third game is actually based on New York City. This game is about the excitement of moving to a big city, but that can go hand in hand with the feeling of being overwhelmed, being homesick, and sometimes being lonely, missing your loved ones and family. And this is visualized by a form of a labyrinth where you can collect letters to form a poem. Let me fast forward again. So the labyrinth becomes more and more complex. Again, starts more and more looking like the actual painting. So voila, these are the mini games. And then to top it off, we also have some real world interactive installations, which I have some storyboarding here. So you see on the screen, the first installation looks like a normal painting hanging on the wall. The artwork seems to be affected by vandalism. You see a rope on the floor that should prevent you to come close, but it's cut, and there's a dirty handprint on the canvas. It triggers the fantasy of being able to touch the untouchable. Like the visitor starts doubting cultural norms, where you normally cannot touch a painting, and gets the feeling they're doing something naughty. So, but they can actually approach the painting and then start play the first game you saw on this painting with the touch-based detection. Voila. The second interactive installation is called Landscape Artist Without Landscape. It's about the fantasy of landscape painting. You get out there with your easel, your canvas, paint brushes, and you install yourself somewhere on a nice meadow with a thermos full of hot coffee. And next you want to start painting, but you realize there's no landscape. So in this installation, you're the one creating the landscape by drawing it with your finger on the empty canvas, and your drawing gets projected onto the big wall, and an AI judges the quality of your painting. So there's a tree being generated based on the line you drew, but the AI judges your drawing, and this raises the question, like, how can art be judged? So to top it off, to close it off, an important detail: all games are randomly and procedurally generated. So in that sense, each player will have its own unique art experience. Thank you for listening, and feel free to try and wishlist the free demo on Steam.